Hello everyone, it's Dr. Wolfe here, and in this video I'm going to be introducing Punnett squares. Alright, so thus far we've been able to use pedigrees, essentially a family history, to be able to determine genotypes. And we've been able to determine the genotypes of Rosamere and Robin-Nielsen, right? And by figuring, okay, if they had these kids, they have to have these different alleles, right? Now, what we want to do now is we want to look more towards the future. Let's say they're about to have their 7th child. What is the chance that their child will have albinism? That's where we start to use these Punnett squares. First things we're going to do is we're going to make a key, right? Big A, little a. All right, big A is, in this case, the dominant allele is not albinism, not having albinism. And the little a, the recessive allele, is going to be having albinism. Remember, we could use any letter if we wanted to. If I could have used, let's say, big P, little p. I don't like using sometimes this because it's kind of difficult to figure out the difference between uppercase and lowercase. All right, with A's, it's really easy. All right, so you don't have to do this every time, but for the first intro to Punnett squares, all right, we know that Rosamere, from our pedigree, we know Rosamere is heterozygous, and we know Robin-Nielsen's also heterozygous. All right. Now, remember, you could only pass down one allele. So, Robin-Nielsen's going to pass down could pass down the big A, could pass down the little a, right? Rosamere could pass down the big A, could pass down the little a. Which one is they're going to pass down? Again, it's a 50-50% chance. It's a 50-50 chance on whether they pass down one allele or the other allele. All right. So, what we're going to do with the Punnett squares, we're going to figure out all those different combinations, all right? Let's put Rosamere up here, big A, little a, and Robin-Nielsen over here. Now, it doesn't matter. They have the same exact genotypes. It doesn't matter if you put the mom here or the father here or vice versa. I usually put the father up here, mother up here, but again, it doesn't matter, all right? So what we could do now is, again, it's possible, all right, that Rosamere passes down this big A, so we're going to show that right here. She could pass down this. So we're going to draw this here, and it's possible that Robin-Nielsen passes down the dominant allele as well. This is a possibility. All right, but remember, maybe it's possible that Rosamere also passes down the dominant allele like she just did, but then maybe Robin-Nielsen passes down this recessive allele. All right, or maybe it's Rosamere that passes down the recessive allele and Robin-Nielsen passes down the dominant allele. All right, notice that we always put the dominant first just as a convention. All right, or maybe both just pass down both recessive alleles. All right, so these are all the different possibilities, all right, that their 7th child could have. All right, so what we're going to do to analyze our pedigree is we're going to first look at the genotypes and then the phenotypes. All right, what are the possible genotypes? All right, if I look at the square, it looks like one possible genotype is big A, one possible genotype is big A, little a. All right, and the other possible genotype is little a, homozygous recessive. All right, now we're going to look at the ratio of the percentage. What are the chances that the kid would have this genotype? All right, well, there's 4 boxes. One of them, all right, is homozygous dominant, so that's a 1 in 4 chance, or so I could write it as a fraction, or I could write it as a percentage. I usually write them as percentages. All right, now what about big A, little a? There's 4 boxes, right? 1, 2 are heterozygous, so I'm going to put 50%. All right, and then there's only 1 of 4 boxes that is homozygous recessive, so I'm going to put 25%. All right, so those are the possible genotypes, all right, that the 7th kid could have and the likelihood that they would have. Now let's look at the phenotypes. All right, now if they have the dominant allele, they don't have albinism, so there's definitely some boxes with the dominant allele, so I'm going to put not albinism. And there is a box with 2 recessive alleles, so that would show the phenotype of albinism. So another possibility is albinism. All right. Now, there are 1, 2, 3 boxes with the dominant allele, which means that's 3 out of 4, so that's a 75% chance that the child would not have albinism. All right. However, there's 1 of 4 boxes, all right, that would show that albinism phenotype, so we're going to put 25%. All right. Now, important thing with the Punnett square, again, this is just showing the likelihood, right? What we saw with Rosamere and Robin-Nielsen, and it looked more from their kids that it was like a 50-50 chance of inheriting the albinism phenotype. What we actually see with the Punnett squares, that's not the case. So sometimes what we see in actuality, what we observe, deviates a little bit from what we would predict. All right. Another thing with Punnett squares is this does not influence. Let's say they have an 8th child. All right, whatever their seventh child was, it does not influence this Punnett square. It's the exact same percentages every single time. Thanks for watching.